Okay, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. You're welcome to this week's Forex Outlook for the 15th to the 19th of January 2024 with Great White FX. As always, we're going to start off with the economic calendar. After that, we're going to go over to the pairs. So looking at this week, we don't have that much no rate news this week, although we have unemployment for Aussie dollar and some high impact news on Wednesday, unemployment claims on Thursday, and GBP rate news. So we don't have any rate news. GBP retail sales, no rate news this week. Monday might be a little bit quiet because of US bank holiday. That's New York session. So that out of the way. So as always, we're going to start off with US 100, dollar index, Euro USD, GBP USD, gold, Euro GBP, pound yen, and Euro yen. So we're going to start off with US US 100. That's NASDAQ MT first variation of NASDAQ 100. So looking at this pair on the weekly, it has a bullish notation. Looking at it from the weekly, it has a bullish notation, but price is still at this high. If you put this here, you notice that price is still within this high, and it hasn't closed with good evidence above it. So if you go down now to the daily on this same pair, you notice something here. This was the last area where price they started moving up from, and they've closed below it. That is a bearish sign in and of itself. So if you go down to the 4-hour time frame, we have a change here. So this move is not very solid. This up move is a retracement into this area. So, and we've noticed price rallied, didn't make a new high. So if you now drop to the 1-hour time frame, this was the last buying area before they made this high. Price has broken below it. So going into this week, the possibility exists that this may still move lower, but it depends on what they do. Will they sweep the highs, create something like this and move down, or will they sweep this low, retrace, then move lower? So for US 100, I'm slightly tilting to the downside depending on what they do. Because of this break below 1665.8. So this might be a retracement. This didn't make a new high. So we'll wait to see if this low breaks. If they break this low, any retracement that does not close above 16,911 will be a opportunity for lower prices. So the next pair we're going to be looking at is the dollar index. The dollar index has been in a bit of a range. If you look at the dollar index from the weekly, it has a bullish notation because of the close above these two highs. But if you drop down now to the daily, you find out that it's in a retracement. But the whole outlook still has a little bit of a slight bullish notation. Why? Because on the daily, this high here that made this low is still active. So, but if we drop, nobody close, yes. But if we drop down now to the 4-hour time frame, it becomes a little bit clear what we're facing. We're having a range. Note this single candle here. All activity has been within its body. So until you have a decisive break above either, let me see, this will be below 101.91 or above 103.10, this is going to range. And when you have a range market, what you do is you look for the highs and the lows. You just play the highs and the lows. So if we drop down to the 1 hour on the dollar index, we can basically see it's in a range. So you wait to see what price does at the high. If it gets rejected there, then you know it's dollar weakness to probably the lows. So basically, the dollar index, it's in a range until you get a break above, out of this 4-hour range. But be it as it may, there's something we should not forget here. This area has been broken by this move. There's this low, and if I pull back my indicators that shows me my fair value gap, there's this fair value gap, you have a low. So whenever you have a low, a significant low like this, and the fair value gap below it, even if you get a body close below that low, you need to be very cautious, because what price may do is something like this, close up here and move back up. So that's what we need to be very, very careful of. So even if you see that break below here, watch this 4-hour fair value gap, because you can see there's a swing high here that has been displaced. So price may just drop into here and take off back. So those are things we need to watch. So I'll keep you guys updated as we move on. So the next way we're going to look at is Euro USD. The same thing too. A range bound dollar index is also going to be a range bound Euro USD. So we need to wait and see if this will close above, or the same thing too on the dollar index. You also have the same setup on the Euro USD. So we don't know which is going to play out first. So if the dollar index decides to go down, then this is going to seek upside. But if the dollar index decides to go up, then this is going to seek downside. So we just can't see. We just can't see. The same thing too with GBPUSD. No direction. There's just no direction. It's in a range. And when it's in a range, you only play the highs and the lows. That's just what you basically do when you have price in a range. I'm trying, there's no basic range candle, but if you look at it carefully, it's not making new highs, it's not making new lows. But the GBPUSD is slightly tilted to the upside. After these 3 highs, he has not made any new high and he has not made any new low. So we just watch and see what Monday brings. Then that brings us to gold. If you look at gold on the daily, this close on Friday, we need to watch and see what happens here. If you notice, there's a fair value gap here on the weekly. This fair value gap from here to here, it's like what you call a balanced price range. Price has not been able to close up above it. If we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, gold is like in a range of sorts, but he's making new lows. He's not making new highs. So there is a possibility that this may still tilt to the downside. There's a possibility that this may still tilt to the downside. That depends on what they do here. Let's look at it on the 1 hour. If you look at it on the 1 hour, we already have a swing high here. But this high has been broken above. So those are some complications we're looking at. So if price rallies, sweeps here and doesn't close above, then we are going to see a movement into this range back. So if gold slightly where it is now, it's not, except it closes body wise above here, it might just tilt down into this range high to this range low on the 1 hour. So the next pair we're going to be looking at is euro pound. Euro pound is bearish. It's bearish, but it's holding above a fair value gap of the weekly here. Let's go to the weekly time frame. You can see the weekly fair value gap. He has not closed above it. He's using it as a kind of like support level. And if you look at it throughout last week, that's where he's holding. But the formation he's giving is a formation that has me concerned. Whenever you see this type of formation, most likely you're looking at possible bullish run. So we'll wait and see.
W,
Yes.
not a W.
Yes. we're looking at the second leg of the W formation. We're looking at the second leg of the W formation. And if that starts to play out, that's going to put pressure on the GBPUSD, on anything pound. Once this takes off, it's going to put pressure on pound. But for now, he's still bearish. It's still bearish. We still have this low here and this slight fair value gap here. So apart from that, if it does not take out this high, any rally on it might just still be a move to the downside. So the next we're going to look at is Euro Yen. Euro Yen, if we look at it from the weekly, no, sorry, Pound Yen.
Pound yen.
Pound Yen is looking like a range. We have this low and this high. That's where they are doing business in. And if you look closely, this candle here, if you notice, they've spiked the low of the candle and they didn't close below it. They've gone back inside. So that points to the fact that they might be going in for this high. But if we drop down to the daily time frame, the daily time frame is still looking bullish because we have a displacement here. Why is this area important? Let's drop down to the 4-hour time frame. If we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, we have this high here. This was the area used to break this high, break these two highs. So if price comes in here, there's going to be bullish evidence. You're going to see a bullish one. So price may drop in here within the week. If you get bullish evidence from here, we might see a run up in price towards any of these highs. Go back my annotations. Then we might see price run. We have this fair value gap here, and we have 187.56. So that's it for the pound yen. The last but not the least is Euro yen. Looking at the Euro yen, the same situation we have on the pound yen is what we have on the Euro yen. This might still drop a little bit because we have already a displacement. So this is your dealing range, 158.99 to 157.20. You wait for price to come in here. If it gives you bullish evidence, you'll be targeting 160.18 to this top of this fair value gap, 160.99. That's as long as there is no close below 157.20. So that settles it. Any questions? Any questions before we call it a night?
Might be a slow week.
Yes, it might be a slow week because of the range. Because of the range. Except the dollar index decides to move, it might just be a slow week. So in the absence of any questions, I thank you all for taking your time to attend. Wish you all a beautiful night's sleep and a splendid week ahead. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.